How's it going, everybody? This is Double Wide 6, and I'd like to welcome you back. This is the second part of our video. We're in the process of working on a snowblower. This is the auger assembly, as you can see, and what we're going to do is remove the augers and take apart the gearbox so that we can change the seals that are leaking oil. So we're going to begin by removing our bolts that hold on the augers. Okay, so these are our shear pins. We're going to start by taking them off, and they're both 7/16. So we'll take those off. Okay, and we'll pop that through with a hammer and do the same on the other side, and then we should be able to remove our augers. Alright, now that we have out our shear pins, the next thing we're going to do is remove the washers that go on the inside of the snowblower housing, and we should be able to slide off our augers. This one's not seized, very good. And I've also taken the time to label them. I put an L here for left when you're facing the front of the machine, and an R here for right. So that way I just don't get anything confused, because I don't do this every day. In fact, I've never done this before. There are also two washers that go on the inside up next to the oil seal, so we want to pull these off after you take off the augers. So as you can see, I've now moved the entire assembly over to my vise. I left the impeller on there because I don't think I have to take that off. That has two roll pins that you can just knock out to take that off. But I'm going to try and leave that on, and now we're going to start tackling all these 7/16 bolts and the 5/16 bolts here, and that should separate our crankcase. Here's where we have our leak, at least one leak, and I figure since I'm doing all this work, I'll open it up, and I want to make sure that there's grease in there, and see what it looks like, and we'll refill it. So we'll just start by removing the bigger bolts first. And you don't want to lose the nuts on the bottom. Or I should say the bolts on the bottom. This one looks like it's spinning a little bit, so we've got to hold the other end, which I'm not able to do. I got to loosen it up in the vise. And there are two 5/16 bolts that you can pull out as well. So we'll get everything loosened up. One thing to note, these are carriage bolts, so up by the head it's square. So on the one side of the casting it has square holes, that's where the head of the bolt goes, and on the other side of the casting it's round, so that's how we'll know how they go back together. Okay, so I think all the fasteners are out. We're going to see if we can separate this. I believe if we lightly tap on it a little, we should just be able to loosen it up. I just want to make sure that this impeller side doesn't fall. It's a little top heavy, and I'm just trying to wiggle this thing loose. Not quite sure how it's going to come apart, but you can see that there is some oil in there, so that's a good sign. We're just gonna try and work it up. There it comes. So that's what it looks like in there. You can see I'm dripping oil, so I'm gonna have to get a towel here. Well, what I can see here from opening it up is we have some sort of heavy duty like gear oil. Looks like there's RTV sealant in here, and up top there's more of the sealant, and there's no gasket in there. Well, I ordered the parts for the snowblower, and I got the seals and a gasket that goes all the way around here. So I'm pretty sure that this must have been opened up by someone else. And I don't know if you're supposed to have this type of oil in there or more of a grease. I kind of prefer the grease because it kind of, you know, embeds all the gears in grease, where this is kind of more of a splash oiling. So anyhow, we're gonna replace our seals. There's one up here, there's one down below, and when we do that, we'll put in our new gasket. I'm just gonna clean up the oil here, and I have to wait for my new parts to come in. Okay, just a couple little things to note here. I have this impeller set up the way it's supposed to be. And if you're looking at the front of the snowblower, the plug is going to go on the left side if you're facing the front of the snowblower. And I just want to know that for when I put it back together. One side of the casting has a plug and the other side does not. So when you're facing the front of the snowblower, the plug will be on the left-hand side. And that's how the impeller fits in right there. So we're going to slide these off and try and pop out a seal. That'll come off just like that, and looks like I'm just going to take a socket of that size and try and pop that out. Alright, so I have a socket, and we're just going to try and push out the seal and the brass bushing. And the bushing's just starting to move, so we're getting it. We've about bottomed out. So I'm gonna have to put it up in the vise and continue knocking it out. You can see I backed it up pretty far. Alright, so we're up in the vise. Let's see if we can't finish this up. There we go. And there's the seal we're going to replace. Hopefully you can see that. There's the seal. And there's the brass bushing, and there's one of those on each side, so that's just how you can knock them out. Alright, so I'm double wide 6. I appreciate you watching. If you have any comments, please post it. If you know what oil or grease that you should be using for an Ariens snowblower, let me know. I did a little research on the internet and I couldn't figure it out. I know Donnie Boy 73, he did a video on an MTD snowblower and he used grease, so that's kind of what I was leaning towards doing, but I want to do a little more research on it. Alright, thanks for watching. See you next time.